And that right there, kids, is why you don't try to block a dodgeball with your face. The Colors Within was written and directed by Naoko Yamada, who did a silent voice, and takes place in and around the environs of a Japanese Catholic school where a student named Totsuko is the first character that we really get to dive into. She's a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, very, very into her studies, and very devout, making sure she wants to just constantly pray the sin away, because she wants to be the very best, like no one ever was. She wants to pray to have the test, and to not sin is her cause. Yeah, did I have to say that? No, but I did anyway. And she just really wants to be accepted by people, but she's also a little bit socially awkward. She does have a bit of an interaction with a sister there, Sister Hyoko. And I do want to say that, if I screw up any of these names, I do apologize in advance, even though I like some animated movies. I do apologize for that, but Totsuko is very, very, sweet, and even though we don't know that much about her initially, we find out a little bit later on, but she ends up interacting and basically forming a band with a couple other students, Kimi and Rui, R-U-I. I kept wanting to call them Ryu for some reason, but nevertheless. They do go by their last names, but because I know that the family name is important. That's how things are said over there, but I'm just going to say the first names there. So these three, we find out more about them, why they want to form this band, why they maybe have certain secrets that get shared a little bit later on. And from there, we have an anime movie. Oh, yes, and also Totsuko can see the color of people's hearts. That's kind of important for the purposes of this film as it goes on. And yeah, we end up having something that basically, like a lot of animated movies, has a weird, theme of, oh, Japan, seeing the color of people's hearts. But that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, because you know why? This is a gorgeously animated movie that is absolutely breathtaking. Some beautiful color palettes, some great themes about, staying true to yourself. Maybe, there's no, black and white, red and green. There's no, maybe it's shades of gray and everything that you've ever seen. You see the color of people's hearts. You see what they are. Man, it's the colors within, not the party, man. So, that being said, this is gorgeous to look at. It's in theaters. Give it a chance if you can. I mean, give it a chance in theaters. Because it is captivating to look at. Yeah, you could say it relies on some familiar tropes. But what I like about this is the fact that there's so much of, this, like the characters and the style, the designs and everything, that almost seems a little old school, but there's enough modernized, animation, just this great mixture of just these gorgeous color palettes and everything, some sweeping stuff, like there's some pastels being used. The way that they, show how Totsuko's, ability to see the color of people's hearts and just the innocence in her eyes, and just the fact she doesn't understand why she can do this. She's always able to do this because, again, oh, Japan, but it's just so beautiful to look at, and actually ends up tugging at your heartstrings a little bit. There are some moments that are actually genuinely nice and with some good emotional depth. We find out more about Totsuko. We find out more about Kimi. We find out more about Rui. And we find out about the various people in their lives. And just, there are parts where, there's snow falling. Looks great. The interactions initially between Totsuko and Kimi. There's a great dodgeball scene that I just fucking loved. I was laughing quite a bit at that. I also had a private screening. That kind of worries me a little bit, but then again, it was 5 o'clock on a Thursday, night, afternoon, whatever time you want to say, night and afternoon start. That being said, this is very, very beautiful to look at, and it is very, very well done. Now, yes, there are better animated movies out there, but this is something that I'm going to put up way, way high on my list for 2025, or at least relatively high on the list. I mean, we're only in January, but this is really, really beautiful to look at, and has some great moments. And seeing the subtitle version is a good idea. Nothing against the English language track. The voice of Belle from the movie Belle, like Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Belle's a terrific movie to check out also. Nothing against the English track, but just seeing the subtitle version seeing the original language track is really, really nice. And it is, again, beautiful to fucking look at. Really, really good stuff. And it doesn't overstay its welcome. It's done in about 92 minutes. And has a lot of great, great stuff to really sink your teeth into. Sure, there are cliches and stuff like that. And I'm not going to say this movie's 1,000% perfect, but I had great fun with this. And once the music really started rolling, the music's toe tapping stuff, it doesn't beat you over the head with the religion stuff. And that's coming from somebody that really does not care for religion in a lot of movies. But great character stuff. I'm going to talk about it in spoilers. I'm going to get into it. It's in theaters, 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. So again, beautiful fucking movie to look at. But Totsuko, we don't find out that much about her initially. We do find out that she tends to like to stay at the school. Maybe she doesn't necessarily like to interact with her parents. Maybe she, is seen as weird. And there are people, there's like dorm stuff, and like maybe some of the other girls see her as weird. But there's also a theme where I think that she likes Kimmy. And I'm not saying just as a friend. And that's just the idea I got from just the looks on her face and stuff like that, and the way Kimmy acted, and the way they have a camaraderie. And I mean, look, I'm just saying, Japan, they could, they could put themes like that in there. And also, Rui is pretty good as the boy band type, or not nerdy boy band type crush, for like all the anime girls, I guess. I mean, I don't know. The way the characters are drawn is like actually really nice, where you can, embrace them as actual people. I mean, or at least as much as you can. Kimmy, it turns out, actually quit school, didn't tell her grandma, and is worried about, disappoint her, so she's working at a bookstore. That is where Totsuko finds out from the other students, goes to meet her, and then there's this great interaction where she's looking for a book, and she picks up this music for a piano book for beginners, and it's like, oh, I'll take this one. And then Rui shows up and says, wait, are you two in a band? And then, there's all this social awkwardness and everything. But, Totsuko can see the color. I believe Kimmy is green and Rui is blue. And we do get some nice interactions with them and some initial music. We get Totsuko making her own music, seeing the stuff with planetary bodies and stuff like that, and finding a way to maybe wrap that in and talk about Kimmy's color. Talk about that because she really does seem to love Kimmy. Again, I mean, it's not like the guy is being shoved to the side. That's just the impression I get. But then there is a point where it seems like Kimmy's going to run away rather than shame her mother. I did laugh at Rui talking to his mother, who's a doctor and wants him to take over the clinic that's been in the family for generations. And he mentions cram school, and I thought of MST. They slammed the iron gate on me at cram school again. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Everything is MST 3K, according to me. It was just great about this is everybody has a reason as to why they don't want to tell their parents or tell their guardian why they're doing stuff. And, Totsuko's being able to see the color of people's hearts. Once again, I do want to say that dodgeball scene's actually great, and I thought maybe we were going to go with a dreamlike sequence where she suffered a major concussion and this was all in her head. But there's a part where she just gets hit, and she gets hit by Kimmy. This is before Kimmy quit school, and she just felt so bad. She's like, this kind of stuff. And it was great. It was great. It's humorous. It's sweet. It's really well done. And when basically there's a point where there's going to be a sleepover while Totsuko pretends to be sick to avoid a field trip. Kimmy comes over. They end up getting caught. And even though the sister superiors seem like they want to really punish them, Sister Hyoko basically sees, there's actually good in these women, and we just can't have these black and white, themes here. We have to, be appreciative and understand. Yeah, grant me the serenity to change or accept things I cannot change, but also maybe change the things that you are able to change, and just accept that certain things are going to be that way, but not everything needs to be set in stone. So, meanwhile, while they're doing community service and this kind of stuff, they can't work on their music. Rui is working on some music, and oh yes, he's in like some kind of weird hamlet where you have to take a ferry to go get there. More on that in a bit. He's been working on some music. The two girls end up going over there at some point after an offer was made by Sister Hyoko to be part of St. Valentine's Fest, and she even talks to Kimmy and says, you know, you did what you needed to do and everything, and we don't shame you for this. We want you to be part of this. You're, you know, part of the school still. And Totsuko talks about you being in a group. She's also doing quite a bit of prayer still, Totsuko is. And again, adventurous, seeing the colors and all that. And then they end up making some music. They end up finally, you know, they end up stranded at this particular, on the island where Rui lives. And they basically end up finally getting back. They perform at this talent show, and it's great stuff. They're performing the music. It's really excelling. And, oh yes, and also there was this theme of ballet when Totsuko visited her family, particularly, you know, her mother. And she didn't think she was good enough at ballet, so she quit. There was this dance called Giselle, or the song called Giselle, that she always wanted to dance to. And that's something they got incorporated in one of the songs. And they played a few songs. It wasn't like the full things, but it was enough to really get into it. And it was really good, really energetic. And then, basically, during this, before this, they had told their respective guardians, hey, this Totsuko told her mother and father, and Kimmy told her grandmother. Rui told his mother, you know, what he wanted to do. He wanted to go to college. Kimmy apologized for, you know, leaving school. And Totsuko told her parents what she told them. And it all gets wrapped up. Their various guardians and people come up to this concert, this fest. Everybody's applauding. Everybody's having fun. Things are going well. And then Rui is going to college. They're saying goodbye to him. They're saying, you know, hang in there, stay strong, stuff like that. And then there's this point where, you know, like basically, you know, Totsuko's dancing, you know, doing the ballet thing to, you know, this Giselle theme. And she was always wanting to see her own color, and she's able to still see color. Probably been staring at the goddamn sun because she's kind of inept. But that being said, it does end with a nice, neat little bit. They're going to be able to see each other again at some points, like the end of Casablanca. We'll always have Paris or whatever island this is. But it's beautiful. It is gorgeous, and it gets an A+. It is very, very goddamn good. Did I describe that plot well? Probably not, because I'm not an anime connoisseur. So that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Ritlin, and I'll see you soon.